Hi, very good afternoon to everybody and a very warm welcome to the Franklin Templeton Investments Facebook Live. Before we begin, I would like to wish each one of you on behalf of Franklin Templeton Investments a very happy new year. This Facebook Live session, like you all are aware, is all about ELSS, which stands for Equity Linked Saving Schemes, a tax saving device offered by mutual funds. We have a lot of questions that we have received from our investors and from our social media fans and followers. We have compiled a list of them, and to throw light and give you effective responses to each of them, we have in stage with us today Satish Prabhu. Satish, firstly, thank you so much for taking time out and being here. We really appreciate your time and you coming here and sharing knowledge with us. Right. Anyways, without any further delay, Satish, we'd like to start with the first question that we have for this Facebook Live. How does one save tax under Section 80C, and why is this particular section so important?
So Section 80C is among the most popular, sections in the Income Tax Act as far as investments is concerned. And generally, if I look at Section 80C, I think about, the mail that you get from your HR team or from your payroll somewhere in November, December, asking you to submit the proof of investments.
Correct.
In the next 2-3 weeks. And then you find many of your colleagues, running helter-skelter, talking to financial planners, talking to investment advisors in that last-minute rush to invest.
Right.
And, so that's relates very well to Section 80C. Now, coming to, what is Section 80C and what are the investments that you could make. So Section 80C helps you to save tax up to an investment of 1.5 lakhs. So if you invest 1.5 lakhs, you save tax as per your tax slab. So if you're in the highest tax slab, say 30%, you end up saving slightly more than 45,000.
Right.
Okay. And that's pretty good saving. So assume that you don't invest 1.5 lakhs. You end up paying that 45,000 rupees to the government, and that's gone.
Right.
So, but if you save 1.5 lakhs, you end up not paying that 45,000. So it's as good as adding back to your income, and plus the returns that you'll earn from that 1.5 lakh. So that's why I feel that it's very important for the salaried class to invest, whatever is the limit that they can invest up to in under Section 80C. Now, what are the instruments that are covered? So you have the traditional investments, which offer the assured returns, like you have the Public Provident Fund, which is the most popular again among Section 80C instruments. You have bank fixed deposits, you have your insurance premium, you have ULIPs, you have your national savings certificates, and among the newer instruments, you have the equity linked savings schemes, which again are mutual fund investments. And these are among the newer ones because they are equity linked. So again, you have ULIPs also, which are equity linked. So that's largely what Section 80C is all about. And each of these instruments has a lock-in period. So like a PPF has a 15-year lock-in period. You have a bank FD which has a 5-year lock-in period. So these are some of the aspects about Section 80C. But net, I would say that it's very important that people look at Section 80C and make an investment to save as per their slab rate.
Absolutely. Thank you, Satish. Satish, that brings me to the second question that we have. Many people are confused between tax planning and investment planning, and they want to understand what's the difference and which of these is more important.
Okay. I think it's a very valid question, and why I say valid is because people use these two terms interchangeably.
Right.
Because maybe they don't know the difference or they don't know what is, comes before what. So the answer to that is investment planning clearly comes before tax planning.
Right.
So tax planning could be an inherent part of investment planning.
Right.
You may get it as a subset of investment planning, but one should always do an investment planning first. What do I mean by investment planning is any investment must have an objective.
Right.
So look at a goal that you want to achieve this goal, and that's why you're investing. So if you get a tax efficient instrument along with that, that's good enough. So if you are having two investments, one is tax efficient, the other is not, and both of them help you to achieve your goal, then a tax efficient instrument will serve the purpose better
Right.
So, but if both are, may not be very tax efficient, but it serves your investment goals, then, go in for that investment. So always
Absolutely.
investment planning will come before tax planning. So that's the answer.
Perfect. Satish, the next question that we have is, what are the core benefits of ELSS in comparison to traditional tax saving options which give you a guaranteed return?
So traditional tax saving options, are off the shelf product.
Right.
As you said, they offer assured returns. They come with assured returns, and people prefer it that way because, generally Indians are risk averse.
Right.
So they always will go for something that will give you those assured returns. But the flip side is that assured returns are falling. If you look at the general interest rate trends, if you look at the 90s, which offered double-digit returns, maybe our parents were getting those double-digit returns. Today, if you look at it, they are all in single digits, and largely you'll find the returns in the 8 to 9% range.
True.
Okay, so that's one, the flip side of traditional investments. Coming to ELSS, which is an equity-linked product, having invested in equities by their trait have got a potential to offer higher returns. Now, why do I say they have the potential? If you look at India's GDP, it's growing at roughly 7.5%. Okay. Right. Add inflation to that, and you have the growth, India growing at roughly around 12%. Okay. Now, where is this growth coming from? The industry, the companies, the corporates, all putting in their efforts, and this is how the growth comes from. So generally, you can expect, if the economy is growing at around 12%, after inflation, your equities can also grow around the same lines.
Right.
So maybe little bit less, little bit more, but on an average, it can grow even better. So if this is the growth that you can expect from equities, it's certainly better than what you're getting from your traditional fixed income. But the only question is, there is short-term risk, because equities fluctuate more than your traditional fixed income, because there, of course, you have assured returns. So that's where people need to tune in, and that's why you need a little bit of risk appetite to invest in equities. So that is the returns part. So you have the potential of getting better returns. Coming to the operational aspects, ELSS, as I said, each instrument has got a lock-in period. Right. ELSS has got a 3-year lock-in period. Okay. Vis-a-vis 5 years for an NSC or a bank fixed deposit, 15 years for a PPA. Okay. So it has got a relatively shorter lock-in period. So that's a good positive for the ELSS. So besides the potential to earn higher returns, you also have a shorter lock-in period. So these two factors are in favor of ELSS and help you to create wealth over the long run. So that is how I would put the difference between traditional savings and ELSS.
Yeah. In fact, the next question comes out of exactly what you are talking about right now, in terms of how it's risk and reward kind of go hand in hand. We have this question which says that, can somebody actually deploy the entire 1.5 lakh limit under Section 80C in ELSS, or is it a better idea to put that 1.5 lakh under Section 80C in various different tax saving instruments? What is your suggestion for that?
So I would say it actually flows naturally, if you ask me. So if I'm a salaried person, some part of my salary is going as a deduction under the Employees Provident Fund, which is captured under Section 80C. Many people also pay insurance premiums, which is again captured under Section 80C. Some of the people may also have housing loans, for which they make some principal repayments, which is again captured under 80C. So typically what happens is, if this amounts to X, you will invest 1.5 lakhs minus X. So if that is, say, you add up the other components that I mentioned, adds up to 80,000, you have another 70,000 that you may invest in ELSS. So in that way, the investments under Section 80C are naturally diversified. Right. So because insurance premiums and your bank FDs, or your EPF for that matter, Employee Provident Fund, they are all largely classified under the fixed income space, and this is an equity instrument. So you are, I would say, naturally diversified. So you may not need to further diversify, but if you still want to know exactly by how much, I would say that people who are younger can afford to go overboard on the equity front because they have a long investment horizon. People who are a bit senior or nearing retirement, they may look at it from a risk appetite perspective. So if they don't have the risk to invest in equities, they may lower their investment. But still, if you have got a decent investment horizon, it's good enough.
Sure. So Satish, now that we've been talking about ELSS, and that's what the entire Facebook Live session is all about. At Franklin Templeton Investments, you all have an ELSS scheme called the Franklin India Tax Shield.
Correct.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about the scheme, some salient features, benefits? Could you elaborate on that scheme?
So the ELSS scheme of Franklin Templeton, which is the Franklin India Tax Shield, was launched in April 99.
Okay.
So it has got almost a 17-year plus history, and it's among the oldest of ELSS funds available in the industry today. There are few older funds, but 17 years is a good enough track record for a fund. It has got a dividend history from the year 2000. Okay, and it is a well diversified fund. The Nifty 500 is the benchmark index for the fund, and so it has got a good track record. So if I quote some of the returns that the fund has provided, and based on the fact sheet, and I take December 30th 2016 as the cutoff for those returns.
Absolutely.
So over the last 3 years, the fund has given 19.58% returns. So which is pretty good when you look at traditional investment. Vis-a-vis 19.58, the benchmark, which is the Nifty 500, gave you 12.42% returns. So if I put that in absolute terms or in rupee terms, if an investor had put in 10,000 rupees 3 years ago, which is December 2013, the investor would have received 17,099 rupees today. So 7,099 over and above his principal. And vis-a-vis an investment in the index, which is the Nifty 500, would have returned 14,208. So that's the type of returns that the fund has given. So it has got a substantially good track record. So if I look at even an SIP in the fund, which is a systematic investment plan where people invest on a regular basis, there too the returns have been in double digits. So which is pretty good. And when you look at an instrument which is providing you tax-free returns over the long run. So equities, equity mutual funds provide tax-free returns if your holding period is 1 year. So ELSS anyway have a 3-year lock-in period. So any returns that you earn over that lock-in period is tax-free. So which is, if you compare these returns with the returns from traditional investments, then ELSS is far ahead. Franklin India Tax Shield with its track record of 17 years has given pretty good returns.
Absolutely. I think that was very, very helpful. Also for the benefit of everybody who's watching this Facebook Live session, right? Whatever Satish spoke right now about the ELSS scheme from Franklin Templeton called the Franklin India Tax Shield, we have a website dedicated that gives you information about everything that you want to know about this fund. All you need to do is log into the website www.askwhatelse.com. ELSS has to be spelled as ELSS, Equity Linked Savings Scheme. I repeat the URL www.askwhatelse.com, and you will get all the possible information about this scheme, and you can go through the brochure, you can go through all the details. We have two very interesting commercials over there which explain why it is important to look at beyond traditional investment avenues. So you can log into the website and go through that, right? Satish, coming to the next question, there is this common belief, right, and a lot of people have asked this question, that the lock-in period in ELSS is the lowest amongst all the avenues that are available to save tax, is 3 years. So what they are saying is, should my holding period also be 3 years? If I invest, let's say right now, after 3 years I can pull out my money. Therefore, should I pull my money out the moment the horizon is over, or is there some long term benefit for me to stay invested?
I think it's a very good question, and perhaps it's a myth that the holding period and the lock-in period are the same.
Right.
So my answer is no. The holding period is not equal to the lock-in period. Equities, are a volatile instrument, so the returns fluctuate in the short term. And how it works is, the longer the holding period, the lesser the volatility. Right. So the fluctuations get negated if you hold that instrument for longer horizons. So historically, if you see that 5 years is something which is a good holding period if you want the volatility to be lower. Of course, longer than that is always good, but 5 year is something that you can begin with. So I would say that instead of looking at a 3-year lock-in period, people should look at holding ELSS for at least 5 years. And those who are investing through a systematic investment plan, which is investing monthly in ELSS, they should note that every installment would have a 3-year lock-in period. And their holding period accordingly has to be 5 years for each installment. So if I am investing today, I should ensure that, so today is 2017 Jan, so I should ensure that I am holding it at least till Jan 2022.
Yeah.
So that's how it will work. So for any equity instrument, I am not talking about ELSS in particular, any equity mutual fund that they hold, they should have the holding period of at least 5 years.
Right.
And longer the better. So if they can hold it for 10 years, 15 years, the compounding effects gives you better wealth creation opportunities. So that is how I would put it.
Absolutely. So one of the things that at least I understand, Satish, correct me if I'm wrong, is the fact that staying invested in the long run, right, which is a very typical philosophy that we have for equity, applies over here also, and it's a big mistake to try and pull out immediately after 3 years. Staying invested for the long run seems to be the right thing to do.
Correct. And here, if I would add that what I said earlier, traditional investments which are offering assured returns, they may offer lower returns going forward.
Right.
Because generally as an economy progresses, interest rates tend to fall because you need to supply capital to the industry at lower rates. So keeping that in mind, equities would offer you, have a potential to offer better returns. So, so people should look at equities necessarily over the long run.
And if I may add, the traditional ones anyways are coming with a really long lock-in period, like PPF, where you say that the interest rates may actually come down, keeping long-term fundamentals in mind, and you have a 15-year lock-in period. So why not try a longer duration with equity?
And most of these traditional investments also have a taxable component, except the PPF, which is tax-free. Many of the fixed income or the assured returns products like a bank FD or a national savings certificate would be taxable. So the returns that you get from them would be taxable again. So the net returns that you get after paying those taxes would be lower than the stated returns. But come to equity, they are tax-free if the holding period is more than a year.
Right, absolutely. Satish, this is a really interesting question. When I was going through the list of questions, this one really caught my fancy. A lot of stuff is being written about ELSS in the newspaper, online, and various other mediums. And we have got multiple number of people asking this question, saying, I'm a retired individual. I have never invested in ELSS, or maybe for that matter, equity. Is it suitable for me as a retired person to consider ELSS as an investment option? What would be your advice to them?
So again, I would put it, if you look at specifically ELSS, ELSS is a tax saving instrument specifically for section 80C. So if you have an income and you want to save taxes, you can still look at ELSS. Okay, and you have the 1.5 lakh limit, and depending upon your tax slab. So that is one aspect. The second aspect is, if you are a retired individual, I would also want you to look at your risk appetite. Do you have the risk appetite to withstand short-term volatility? And as I mentioned earlier, you need a 5-year investment horizon. So are you ready to wait for 5 years and then check out your returns or then withdraw? So, keeping all that in mind, I would say that retired individuals can look at ELSS for sure. But look at their risk appetite, and look at how much tax you want to save by investing in ELSS.
Absolutely. Satish, there is also this common myth that a lot of people have that, if they don't have a demat account, they cannot invest in an ELSS, and even if somehow they do manage, how will they get the payment back when the maturity happens? So is there anything that you can't buy or invest in ELSS if you don't have a demat account?
I think you're right, it's a myth.
Yeah.
So you don't need a demat account to buy ELSS. So you can buy an ELSS just by having a KYC. So if you are KYC compliant, you can immediately buy an ELSS fund. So if somebody is saying that you need a demat account, then that's totally incorrect.
It's incorrect. So if I may just ask this question in addition to this on my own accord for the benefit of all those who are watching this session, what are the different ways in which somebody can purchase an ELSS? How do they go about it? Where all can they go? Where all can they purchase ELSS from?
So I would say that the first stop should be your financial advisor.
Right.
So whoever is distributing mutual funds, that would be the first stop.
Right.
So people should approach their investment advisors, because the investment advisor helps you to do a holistic planning of your goals, etc.
Right.
So you could also look at, if you're an online person, you could also look at the various portals that are available. You can purchase ELSS online if you're KYC compliant. And the third option is, of course, to visit the website of the mutual fund. So the person can log on to franklintempletonindia.com and purchase an ELSS as well. So these are the three broad options that are available for anyone wanting to purchase an ELSS.
Right. Perfect. Satish, thank you so much. It's been a great honor to have you here. I think we have given some really interesting perspective. Even I am kind of learning few new things about ELSS, as we spoke about, and it was pretty interesting. Before we wrap this entire Facebook live session, if I can just request you to give us your parting thoughts and, whatever you'd like to tell us about ELSS, or 2-3 pointers that you want everybody to take away from this session.
So, the big message that I would like to tell people is not to miss section 80C for sure.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. So, section 80C is a must.
Right.
2 is, don't go into the rush hour.
Right.
Look at section 80C in a well-planned manner. So, you have the entire financial year. Typically, you give your plan in April itself to your employer. So, stick to that plan and start investing, right from April. So, if somebody wants to do an ELSS, I would say that, invest through a systematic investment plan. Start your SIPs monthly, and don't, start from December, start from April itself if you're a beginner. So make the first installment, and if you want to invest the entire 1.5 lakhs, so it comes to around 12,500. So start an SIP of 12,500 right from April, and pay all the installments, and keep investing in the ELSS through an SIP. So be well planned and don't miss out. The 80C option is what would be my message.
Right. Perfect, Satish. I think that has been very, very helpful, and just once again, for the benefit of all those, like we said sometime back, we do have a website exclusively at Franklin Templeton Investments, which is only about our ELSS offering. Do visit the website www.askwhatelse.com, else spelled as ELSS, www.askwhatelse.com. Please visit the site, read about our product. It's pretty interesting. Like I said, we have 2 very interesting commercials. Do have a look at them. Do feel free to write back to us. We will be doing one more Facebook live session once again with Satish sometime towards the end of January this month, where once again he'll come. We'll be taking questions from people, giving you responses. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of that. Thank you so much, Satish, for your time. And please do keep in mind that mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Read all scheme related documents carefully.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme related documents carefully.